Righty, we are live on YouTube. The meeting can't officially start till Miss Ada sits down.
Okay.
Chief Hyatt, we manage your bill.
Sit Ada down.
I'm gonna stand up, cause we're gonna have to get right back.
I'll put $20 on this Ada.
I think she'll take it, Chief. That's where you at.
I don't know about that, cause I'm gonna have to get right back down.
That's pretty good. We'll call the meeting to order. All of the aldermen are present, along with Melissa Martin, our city clerk, and our city attorney, Rocky Eaton. If I could, I'd love for Alderman Mike Lott to lead us in the prayer and the pledge.
Father God, I thank you for your love for us. And Lord, I thank you that we don't have to ask you to be present in our lives. You are there all the time. And my prayer is that we will just recognize that. And because of your presence, that we'll be mindful to do the things that please you. That includes in tonight's meeting, Lord, as we meet together to discuss the business of this city. May what we do be pleasing to you. For it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
what number?
Hey, I want to do this a little out of order tonight before we approve the agenda. Is someone here with the property at 1130 South Main Street?
Yes, sir.
Hey, could you come up for a sec? I'm sorry,
That's okay.
I've only got my long glasses and my short list, so anyway.
We can stand close if you.
Yeah.
Sit down closer if you want to.
I could hear you, but everything else. But anyway, you guys applied for a privilege license to continue the business as is, right?
Yes.
Okay, so your intention is to just rock on, right?
Yes.
Okay, in light of that, since there's not really a change in the business model, my request for a motion is fixing to basically knock that off of there.
Okay.
And then y'all can go through the permit process and everything should be fine.
Okay.
Okay, just wanted to double check before we did it, and then you say, whoa, wait a second.
Yeah.
But anyway, good, thank y'all for being here.
So we can go.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like an explanation. Being that we may in the future decide to rent one of the bays of that area,
Yeah.
do whatever our business plans call for. I want an explanation of why
How you would have to do that. That type of business is a little bit different. We'll always constantly be reviewing our ordinances, so it'd be hard to say that if it's something that takes place in 3 years, the rules may change by then anyway. But a part of the process is always going to be come talk to us and we'll get it figured out.
Well, what I'm asking for is why a conditional use permit was required.
For that type of business, whenever you're dealing, I think car lots fall under it too. So that is one of the things we're going to review from an ordinance standpoint, though, through the planning commission. So when I say
Okay,
it's
but I
gonna
mean,
change,
it's
gonna
zone
change.
Z2 right now.
Yeah, from a C2, but it's the type of business that goes up under that. So it's kind of an addendum onto what goes on.
But C2 sits in their approved operations, automotive repair.
If you get ready to do that, I think you'll probably be okay when it's all said and done, but that's something we're fixing to review. I mean, I wish I could tell you more because I don't know what we're going to end up. If it was me, I could tell you exactly what it's going to be. But obviously, we're going to hash it out amongst several other people. Obviously, we want it to be business friendly and make it an ease of.
Well, like I said,
business.
I
And
just
know
wanted
this
some
probably hasn't been
explanation
for
so
you
that we
guys.
know
So
what the
we want
process
to,
was.
in
And
light
if
of that, we
just-
want to be better with it.
Just to be crystal clear, like car lots and repair places are considered very different by our ordinances, and you have some extra hoops to jump through. It's pretty much that simple.
Okay, so, but it's not just a standard requirement.
And in the future, it may or may not be that way.
Presently though.
If y'all do
Okay,
get
let's say-
ready to do that.
Let's say
let us know.
tomorrow
Just
that I
let us know.
decide to
We'll-
let one of the
we'll
other
walk through
guys
that
have one of
process.
those bays.
Yeah.
And he wants to come get his business license. What would be the process tomorrow?
Conditional use.
Why would it require conditional use?
He's renting the space out, sub-renting it, and it's
So
like
wouldn't
a
it-
larger,
I don't know, because it
That's a
may
good
actually
question.
fall under some of what you guys have under
May.
the overhead. He might just have to get basically a privilege license and go
Well,
go
that's
from there.
what we,
Under his tax number.
Yeah, may
privilege
end up
that's
doing
what we
license.
were thinking
We're
would
trying to
happen.
sort some
And
of that out as well.
like I said, when it came to a conditional, I've done conditional use permit all over the United States for AT&T. Conditional use permit is usually required when you're
Mhm.
trying to change or modify what that zoning allows in that building.
A different
But
type of business.
C2, like I said again, C2 by federal city ordinances says automotive repair is listed under
And
C2 zoning.
I think on our side, we were a little bit more, making it a little bit more confusing, but I
Yeah.
mean, if government can't do that, what else are we good for? So anyway, we're gonna try to make some of that a little more simple when it's all
Okay.
said and done.
But like I said, because
So we're good for now.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're
You
good
just go through
working
the
like
permit
you're
process
working.
just like you had been doing, yeah.
all right, that's
And
all.
once
We
I
have
get ready to
done-
have those discussions, just
Okay.
get back with us. And
Yeah.
like I said, we're gonna take an overall view of it and we'll see where we end up with that as well.
Okay.
Who owns the business?
I
He
do,
does. They do.
I do. It's my own.
And you, yes, but you're leasing, you're going to lease to
No.
somebody else, lease a
But no,
bank.
they're continuing on just like they were.
It's similar,
He said,
it's similar to the, if you look at the operation of business, the way a lot of businesses in our profession do
You
today.
installs.
Right, they're installed, just like when you have a haircutting salon and you have 7 chairs. That chair, that station is rented to that person.
Right.
And normally, there's not a conditional use permit attached unless you say, I'm renting a stall, but they're gonna do painting or something that's not under the
I
C2
get
zoning.
Tattoos.
Yeah,
whatever.
and that's what I was asking, that's why we were looking for a
Yeah.
conditional use permit. When I'm gonna do the same thing in that bay I've done every,
Needless to say, we haven't had a lot of these
yeah.
to begin with, but
Yeah,
anyway.
we've been there
Like I
30
said, we're gonna
years.
work with that. work
Oh,
with the
for sure,
process.
but I don't think that everybody on this board knew that there was a stall arrangement. I don't know that everybody here knew that. I certainly didn't.
Okay.
So now as we learn more facts, we
Right.
decided to proceed more slowly and then you guys decided to continue on with your business. and
Okay.
Yeah.
We're okay with that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks for the clarification.
So now I will ask for a motion to adopt the agenda minus number 9.
Omit number 9.
Yeah.
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion to adopt the consent agendas, number 1, 2, and 3?
I'll make that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All righty, public comment, who we got?
Oh, speak, I didn't say.
We let Miss Ada speak at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Valerie, we had
Oh, is anybody signed up? Yeah. I was thinking there wasn't. Oh, okay, we actually don't have anything. This was for, Mr. Stable that was gonna speak. He's actually gonna get on the agenda and come to the public hearing of next week and deal with Gary, to make that happen. I think we were asking that he actually request in writing that, he meets, so I think he went ahead, took off, he did take off, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Proclamations and resolutions. Number 4, request to adopt a resolution naming Tony Ducker and Steve Stringer as the NML 2023 voting delegates.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
No bids and quotes, no old business, general business. Number 5, request to set a hearing date of July 11th, 2023 at 6 PM for the following properties. 208 Fairchild Drive, parking lot variance, 408 McKinnis Street, and Corinth Road. Is there a motion? Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 6, request to accept the plans and specifications and authorize advertisement for bids for infield turf at the Robert E. Russell Sports Complex. And thank you, Melissa, for putting that whole name in there.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Just to inform everybody, we had looked at doing 2 fields. We're looking at doing 4 now. Y'all saw what the guesstimated prices are. They were using, it's funny when you talk with engineers, they use the bigger number with stuff down the side. I'm like, well, we can probably do that later on down the road. But anyway, it is our attempt to try to do to do turf on the infields of all 4 of the fields. And Josh, we were still having some rehab down at the triplex. We're going to do that at some point, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just to let you know, we haven't left the girls out of it. We can't. Melissa's actually got someone playing down there, so we hear about any imperfections. So anyway, that's a good thing. But anyway, we got a motion, we got a second, all in favor? Number 7, request to accept NDEQ MCWI agreement modification number 1. Is there a motion? Motion and a second, all in favor? That's basically our attempt to get some monies back from the state of Mississippi and them matching our ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act money. We got $2.6 million. We're trying to turn that into 5.2, slowly but surely. So anyway, we got approved for $522,000 rebate on the Dawson cutoff. So slowly but surely, that's moving along, and we hear coffee pot talk that at the end of the day, we'll be in a good place. Pray for Melissa through that process. Number 8, request to purchase a table for the Ameris Prayer Breakfast at a cost of $150.
Motion.
All in favor? That is we went without the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. Used to be done by David Kiwanis. Used to do it. And so it's just one of the things that I guess I kind of missed and didn't realize that's something we should have. And we're actually partnering with the Federal Children's Task Force in Damaris. And boy, you ought to get her on something, and then Valerie on something, and then think you're going to do it like a month from now, and that there's still time, and your phone's blowing up. And so anyway, I appreciate the work that you guys are doing for that. So at the end of the day, I hope that we've honored the person responsible for taking care of so many things in our lives, and that the Federal Children's Task Force can make a few dollars when it's all said and done.
Hey, look, Tommy, let me say real quick, just on behalf of the Kiwanis, I was in that too, and it's not that the Kiwanis just stopped doing that, or didn't feel it important and valuable.
Wasn't it?
Well, Kiwanis is essentially disbanded in Petal, so.
Did he get COVID or something? I know that affected some of them.
Membership was a struggle for a long.
It's hard to get,
There's about
clubs are
5 to 8 of us.
passed now.
I thought it was the pancakes that Steve.
No,
but-
pancakes, they love that.
Little dicey. They brought the folks out, huh?
It is.
All righty, okay, that's been approved and. All right, skip number 9, go to number 10. Request to deny the variance request and special exception for property located at 102 Oakwood Drive with the listed parcel per the planning commission's recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Discussion. I understand why the planning committee turned this down based off of the straightforward details of the situation. But there's some stuff that I'd like the board to consider at least. And in a little bit, I'll ask the owner to come up here and speak about it as well. The house in question was a part of another house that was being sold. That house got finished up and sold. Now it resides on a very small parcel that doesn't give the building a whole lot of room to operate. So a big problem right now is the driveway that's going down the side of the road. There was talk about putting it on the left side of the house, but the neighbors there weren't fine with it. And so I believe the owner's gone and spoken to, or is planning on doing it on the right side of the house now. He's spoken with the neighbor. I spoke with the neighbor. From my discussion, there's a little bit of hesitancy at the beginning, but all in all, she was actually pretty okay with it. I feel safe in saying. And my concerns with this piece of property is if we say no, this house is already there. It used to be a dance studio, trying to convert it into a residential area. It's not suitable for any business that I can perceive because it's on a back road. It's no parking. I don't really see how it can be used in anything in a commercial sense. For residential sense, we have these things to work out. Like I said, the main thing, was the driveway and giving availability for people to park, which I believe the neighbor's fine with. There's some other stuff that we'll need to discuss on here, but I think that if we say no to everything, this property is just going to become a dilapidated and abandoned structure. I believe at one point in time, there was already someone homeless that was living in it. And I think that it's gonna go back to that. And so I would like for us to have a discussion on the piece of property, kind of talk it out, get y'all's opinion on it. I would like for this motion to be reversed and for us to allow some of these variances. We can go down each one and see how the board's feeling about it. But first, Brett, would you like to come up here and speak on it?
Yes. Evening.
How y'all doing?
Doing good.
Good.
Good. Y'all have any specific questions or anything for me, or I'll kind of just shoot from the hip here?
Well, I guess for a lot of this, you gotta kind of tell us what's going on with you.
Okay, so old dance studio, irregular shaped lot, pre-existing lot, platted within the city already. I did a accept and cease and accept, I think it's called, gaining some or property on the left side from the other parcel that I sold. So our variances are lot lines, road frontage. That's some of the issues that we've come up with. Driveway, there was a power pole sitting on the right side of the property that would prohibit a driveway going from the right side. I've spoken with Mississippi Power. I've had that moved to the property line, so that's no longer an issue. Allowing us access for off-street parking. There's 16 feet on the right side, so I believe that falls within the requirements from structure to property line. There, we don't have a variance in the back. On the left side of the property, we have about a 10-foot area that does not meet the requirements. It's 12 foot at the closest point, and it actually veers left. The fence line and property line do. So we have maybe 5 to 10 feet of structure that does not meet the requirements of the city for that variance. So slight variance there, and then we're 25 feet off the road. That doesn't include right-of-ways, which I understand is a part of that. So that's the variance I'm asking. Doesn't have water and sewer. I have spoken with you guys about that already and offered to pay to have water and sewer run from Old Richland Road to this parcel. So that's pretty much where we're at there.
Do you just want a driveway or do you want to extend the building as well?
No, we're not doing anything with the building. Well, we talked about adding a porch on the front for curb appeal, but it would be about 6 foot. That's not there. But the steps already come out about 5, so we really wouldn't be encroaching much further than what's already there. And it would just make it look a lot better. I know covered parking was an issue for the planning. If that is gonna stop you guys from allowing me to move forward with this project, we can accommodate. I just really am at a point where I need to be able to do something with.
Can you
this
explain
investment.
the requested variances on the setbacks? Because if the building's already there,
Mhm.
is it just that it's a non-conforming building?
Yes,
Because it's
sir.
been empty?
Yes, sir. Yep. And then you had actually mentioned last time we spoke for me to go talk with the neighbor to get
That was gonna be my next step.
the green
right there.
light. Yes, sir. And so on the right side, I spoke with Miss Frankie Rogers, whose property backs up to the right side of my property. And she loved what we did with the parcel next to mine that we did a remodel on and sold. And she's looking forward to what we're going to do with the dance studio. Our intentions are a 3-bed, 2-bath, completely remodeled time. I think it's going to look sharp.
And ultimately, as I said, I spoke to her as well, and confirmed that she was okay with it.
I think we did make some
Thank you.
exceptions on the sewer and the water. And obviously, Jeffrey, if you don't mind, I'd like to get your thoughts on this. I I would say this, that all of these things were known when the property was purchased. And obviously, we rely real heavily on what the planning commission says, understanding there are exceptions to every rule, but at the same time, Jeffrey, what was the thought of
The main thing we talked about was the fact that initially it was one piece of property with a house and a business on it, and the house sold, and then this was the leftover piece of it that is a parcel. The amount of exceptions and exemptions that would need to be approved to make it work were more than we thought would be beneficial for that area. The covered parking was a big deal for us, and we talked about that. It being so close to the street, even though it is a one-way, dead street, it's not a lot of practice, but there's no front yard, and the setback there is a big thing for even the aesthetics of the building. And the way that, on the left side, there is only a small amount that you need for the variance because the fence does kind of go off at an angle. So that was not the biggest issue for us, but the overall lot size was also going to be one of the other variances. And that's the thing we thought was this structure was not built as a home. It was built as a studio, and converting it, and sometimes you can convert those to homes and it makes sense. But from looking at the neighborhood, looking at what would have to be approved to get this to that state, we just didn't feel that it was in the context of what the neighborhood would need or want, and it was just a lot of variances.
What, unanimous vote?
Yes.
I do have a combatant to that. In my first meeting with the planning, they actually approved R2 residential with the parcel sitting as is. So that's them accepting the lot size, in my opinion. So I don't understand why that is an
Well,
issue.
zoning is a lot different than asking for a variance, ordinance variance. Rezoning has to be initiated by the owner. And a lot of times, if you're going from a higher level to a lower level, we're obliged to grant that, especially if something's wanting to go from C to R in the middle of the R area. You're not going to get any resistance on that. That's exactly the direction we want to go in. But now we're talking about the logistics of converting the physical characteristics of that property, which are built to a commercial level, to something that is going to be aesthetically pleasing to future home buyers in that area. So it's apples and oranges, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Any other questions or anything?
I think maybe just on that note of rezoning and everything, if we're gonna go through the steps of rezoning from C to R and then say you can't do R, what's the purpose of?
Well, one thing that would signal to me is there would be a hearing sign. Everyone would get a chance to come and voice their concerns or complaints. And I don't recall that happening, I don't remember there being a huge outcry or anything like that. So that would be informative to us, and not necessarily committing us to one path or the other. It would depend on.
I think it was all 1106 Old Richton was all C2 or C whatever.
Oh, really?
Well, then that makes sense why they would
Because she
ask for it
paid
to be-
commercial rates on her water at the house.
So essentially, the house needed to be rezoned
So it just got
as
lumped in.
residential.
Well, it was all one parcel.
Right.
It had always
Yeah.
been one parcel, so that one parcel got rezoned from C2 to R1, which made sense because then you were able to sell it as a house, which I think you did.
That was after we sold the property.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
So that's what I'm saying. So it wasn't that they were being inconsistent by changing it to R1.
With the partial split, whenever.
Yes, that was two separate
They
parcels.
were already split
Yes.
before the zone change.
Correct, yes, sir.
It's only one address.
And then also, everything is already fenced off. So it's not that this is sitting in somebody's yard and by this house going there. It's already fenced off and the building's already built. The inside needs to change and maybe some aesthetics to it need to change. But I think that leaving it there to rot is just going to bring it in front of us at one of our property hearing meetings that we just got out of. And that's my concern is while like I said, I completely understand, and likely it will be that this needs to have a covered parking lot, driveway, garage, as we were just discussing, knock off one of the things, try and bring it more in line. But all in all, I fear this building just sitting there and turning into a vacant piece of property that's going to do far more damage to the neighborhood than it being rebuilt into something new, and being updated and made use of.
I do think that the trend moving into a residential area, I do believe that direction is going to have a lot less resistance than something trying to move the other direction, commercial in a residential area. I've never heard of a commercial endeavor say, oh no, there's houses around me.
Sir, you've already sold the house, the first house, right?
Yes, sir.
Or is it rented?
No, that's sold.
Sold. So you're looking at this to be another sold, single-family house, or?
Yes, sir.
Not a rental focus? No, so it would bring some home ownership into that area?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
I drove by there today, so the time, actually, the neighbor came out and tapped on the window, because thought I was like, stop. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So what is, and like I said, the variances there's a lot of variances that try to shoehorn something in here, but, I think the city in our process here, we walked ourselves into the corner, like, well, we have a building, it's a building that's either gotta be completely demoed, and there's, it's a dead area that you could sell to one of the neighbors around it, and they get appended to their yard, that's an option. Or if we want, that is a course of action, or to, if you're trying to develop it, then we either have to continue that path and say, how do we work within the confines? I thought it was very close to the front. I'm not comfortable with any more butting out towards the road, because that's there's some safety and some drainage, with the roads, because two vehicles trying to get by there. So I'm not comfortable with any variance towards the front. And like I said, especially if the neighbor to the south, she's comfortable with you putting a driveway on that side and going to the rear and doing a covered parking area to the rear, or single garage to the rear, which would make it in line with the majority of those other houses that has a covered parking. That makes it usable, maybe for potentially affordable housing you can add to our inventory. Because otherwise it's going to do exactly what you said, it's going to turn into a situation where we already have some properties right here that were, based on the terrain, we've landlocked ourselves in and we can't do anything with it. We can't develop, so. What's your options to satisfy the need, and will the building be square footage size? Did it need a square footage size for the size of the
I think
accommodation?
it met the minimum square
1250 or
footage.
1350?
I think it did.
Okay, but it's just a square footage of the yard, and we're getting ready to approve later the same document, we're getting ready to approve a 7,500 square foot lot size.
Yeah, the one thing we did not discuss him adding the covered parking in our last meeting, because that was one of the things that we brought up that was not brought to our commission when we discussed it. We did discuss the opportunity of one on the front setback of potentially pushing the front of that house back, taking part of that front room out and making it into a porch to give more access to the front. But I know that he said it was not economically feasible to do that, but putting a garage or a carport on the back, there may be opportunities to gain some ground there and take some room for the front, put in the back when he was installing the garage, if that's his plan. But that was not part of our discussion.
I'm willing to work in order to make a single domicile here, but I think there has to be, I'm concerned about the front staying on. But like I said, otherwise it's dead. It's a dead parcel, and I think, we're here to help develop, and we're, like the mayor always says, we're trying to be business friendly and developer friendly. When it meets with the contents of the surrounding houses, I think it could be there if you work, like I said, now, you have to run your numbers and see if, some of these adaptations, whether it's pushing back to allow more space in front.
Well, so the issue with that is if we remove the front of the building, then I have to ask for a square footage variance. So
Well, you're right. Sometimes if you do that because we're asking you to do that, I think you're going to have a aptitude for us to support a variance for that. Because we're not sending you for failure. We, like I said, there's times we're trying not to. But that, like I said, we ask you to do that because we're gonna see the whole plan. We're not gonna try to piecemeal it. Like I said, the issue with like the covered parking, I mean, that's, like they point out, and that's, without even that, you're dead in the water, because, I mean, that doesn't meet with the context of the rest of the neighborhood. So we could deny it just based on that. I'd rather work with you and come back and like say, let's get another plan that we can support and make it an actual usable parcel, and maybe get some, another home on the market for us. So that's kind of where, just from my,
And
the mayor.
I wouldn't stress too much on our side, because this isn't a problem we created. I kind of lean towards where the planning commission is. And ultimately, I mean, I think that's a factor. This isn't an issue that we created. I usually get that question asked to me, like, what did the city do to make this problem happen? But at the same time,
Hey, Matt, what kind of price did we get on, adding the sewer and all to it? Do you remember?
We'd have to rerun the numbers because everything has went up.
I think it's around 6,000 or 7,000
that's
at one
what I was.
time.
Y'all approved for him to pay cost instead of cost plus 20, which is what we normally do, but we'll have to requote it, because that was
How long ago was that, man?
That's been
January or February.
January.
You could almost double that.
They'll try to separate it.
Oh, yeah.
Such a small.
I do construction, I work with builders. Demoing the front of that building is gonna cost me $20,000, getting it removed, tore off. I'm losing 200 square footage at $140 a square foot. That's a $60,000 hit on this parcel. So that makes that financially improbable. Yeah, it's just, we've got a building we're trying to do something with as it sits. It's there. I've been doing this for 9 years. My contractor's been doing it for 20. I've bent over backwards paying for water and sewer, or have agreed to,
But, and this was one property that was subdivided
before my ownership.
before your ownership.
I took in some of the property from that other parcel to try and make this one a little bit larger, but there's only so much I can take. And that's got a 911 address. It's 102 Oakwood. That's been in the system for years. It's pre-existing. It's been there. It's how the previous owner used it. That's on them, but
Here's the thing, I'm firmly in the camp that it's sat there for a long time now. And it is a very small road, that doesn't negate somebody possibly being ridiculous and flying through there somehow or another, but it's maybe 200 feet long or something like that, 200-300 feet long.
only parcel on the street.
Yeah, it is the only house on that street. It is a small little cutoff road between Old Bridgeton and Harris.
Thompson Boulevard.
And so.
Is it Park Lane?
It's Hamilton.
Hamilton, okay.
Hamilton and Thompson.
My
That's your board
suggestion, my desire would be to allow for the driveway. Maybe not grant the porch, but also not demolish what's already there. Not grant the acceptance for the covered garage. Make sure we get one of those installed.
I'm good with that.
And then leave the current building as is. The variances that come with that, the setbacks on the left, right, front, I at least understand. And Brett and I have talked it over. I don't know that they can push forward with this building if too much work is being done on it, which ends up leaving us in the same spot. Board's free to disagree with me on that, but that's where I am currently. And ultimately, I would like for something to be done with this as opposed to letting this building sit.
That's also not our problem.
I think it will be eventually.
That's not our problem either. That's why we called those people in for the hearing, because it was their problem. And we were just communicating it to them that it was their problem. But obviously, we want to be friendly. We're the friendly city. So anyway, we've got a motion, got a second. Any other comment on any of this?
Mayor, for what it's worth, we're neighbors, we're at 1010 Old Richton, we have the little JG accounting business.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And, they did a great job on the house next door, so for what it's worth, it turned out really, really nice, and I mean, we love to see it fixed up, but, you know, obviously, gotta make,
I didn't know you did accounting.
yeah, I do it all.
What else, what do you not do? What in the world?
It's mainly his wife that does it.
Oh,
He's a star when I'm
do a lot of
dancing.
work. That is awesome. All righty, y'all ready?
Saying as is. Not everything. Unless we would like to take back the motion, make a new one.
Who made the motion?
Yeah, who made the
Greg did, and I seconded it.
And you seconded it. If not, I would call for a,
withdraw?
we got a motion and a second.
I'd like to withdraw the motion.
I would say, Greg, are you-
Oh, it's Craig.
yeah,
Greg made the motion.
I can't withdraw the motion. So
And technically, you can vote against it or for it on the other side of this too.
It's not
You're
in,
just changing a yay to a nay.
it's not in my ward. I have no problems withdrawing the motion.
Well, then I would like to make a motion that we allow for the variances to the driveway on the right side of the building. And I don't think that can I do allow and deny motions in the same.
Yes.
Where was that telephone pole?
I think you just
I
said,
know
I thought you
No,
wanted
I'm just kidding. I called
Yeah,
him
I'll
six
just say
to add any.
Don't add
we got
anything
removed it,
else.
told him it was- told him I needed
It's
this.
about the
I would say
This
the
would help.
setbacks, the setbacks are good.
Thank you.
Don't allow anything else. So the
President,
driveway
hold
would,
it.
Wait, what do you-
Make
what do
your
you-
motion.
yes.
If you, listen to Alderman Brixton, he may have one other fact for you to add to your motion, maybe.
I thought that was wrapped up to it, by not granting a variance for a covered garage, you would have to put in a covered garage. So just by allowing for the driveway, there has to be a covered garage.
Yes, that, the
Which-
negative of the mark, no, there, yeah.
So the only variance that we're granting are setbacks to the building that's already there and the driveway, being on the right side of the building. That, and then we deny, the porch on the front of the building and the removal of the covered garage. Those are the two that we deny, everything else we approve.
Basically, just setbacks and,
Setbacks in the driveway,
The 9
porch and covered garage.
porch addition.
But which will require you to put a covered garage, it's not on the side.
That's right.
Somewhere in the back, you have to.
That's, hey,
Where there's plenty of room in the back.
there's plenty of room back there, yes, sir. That's,
Got a motion, got a second?
You gonna stay?
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
thank you, guys.
Appreciate you guys
This is-
walking through that.
6-1.
Thank you.
It's gonna look cute when you're done. That's gonna be cool.
Thank you, man. I have high hopes for it. It's little foot
Buy
ceilings.
that house as soon as you can.
What's
Well, I
that?
said earlier, we do need
You
an
need to get that-
executive
yeah.
session here at the end, just that's
Oh,
why on a
which
couple
ones?
different matters.
Just two properties together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got it.
So much more.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Yeah, now it's a 3-bedroom house.
All right, number 11,
Yeah, that's right.
number 11 is a request to grant the
Good deal.
variance
Thank
request to
you.
allow for a new parking lot without landscape island every 12 spaces for Kettle Harvey Baptist Church located on West 7th Avenue per the Planning Commission's recommendation. Is there a motion? Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 12, request to grant the following variances to allow for construction of 2 new homes. Proposed parcel 12, lot size variance to allow 7,906.81 square feet. I like the detail. Not the required 10,000. Rear setback 15 instead of 20. Proposed parcel 13, front setback 15 feet instead of 25 feet. Rear setback of 15 instead of 20 per the Planning Commission's recommendation. Is there a motion?
Whoa, for discussion.
Motion for
Kind of
second
how we do.
Yeah.
Motion, and is there a second?
I got a second.
Okay.
Explain that one to me, boss.
Well, good evening. We had went over there, last year and,
I walked that property.
yeah, and we built the 11 houses over there.
Yeah.
And as y'all know, Petal has a huge need for housing, especially the, middle income kind of housing.
Right.
We've had good success. We're renting those houses for $1,400 and $1,500 a month
Okay.
over there. So it's not, in my opinion, the low income housing. It's good quality people we're getting in. But when we did it originally, we had this, ended up with all this room in the back. It's on the private road that we put in, that concrete drive on the back there. So none of the houses really are gonna be on that city street. It's gonna be on that private drive.
Okay.
So we just kind of had to shoehorn them to get them in there.
The road that goes in between the house.
Yes,
The road for the houses.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna go straight back to those two houses.
Right, correct.
Well, why the need for all the setbacks and variances?
Because the way the property lines run together is similar to what he had. One of them's kind of running at an angle, and it's really not the whole.
Ran out of property and ditch.
Yeah, well, I don't know about the ditch part.
If you recall, these are the William Street houses. Our variance is allowed for 6 houses. And I fought it pretty hard.
Mhm.
It was a 6-1 vote against me. I did not think we should put 11 houses where 6 houses should be.
Here's my question. I've been back there 4 or 5 times when we had 4+ inches of rain.
Mhm.
We haven't had any issues yet.
Right.
Yeah. No, I've been back there, Gerald. 5 inches of rain is gonna cause problems anywhere.
Correct. Yeah.
What do we have? Tell me.
I'm listening.
Okay. I'm just asking, is that gonna cause a problem with that ditch back there behind Green Street?
I can't see it causing a.
You're talking about the one that has the kind of a little levee
There,
deal over
it
there?
leads straight back into it.
Yeah, there's a little levee or something back there.
Yeah, I mean, the
That's
houses,
the variance
I
problem,
wouldn't touch with it.
we're building the same square foot of houses. So I mean, you're talking about,
but you're getting further back and further back.
yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, I can't.
And oddly enough, that's not even, is it even considered a flood zone?
No, that's the thing. I think most of the people, there is a lot in there, and I
I
own
think
several
when you move
houses.
the other way, you start running into an
Yeah.
AE zone, and that's a Texas zone.
Yeah, and we're not in the flood zone,
Yeah.
on any of that stuff that we're doing. I think a
Weird,
lot of the
but yeah.
problems over there are the people that are in the flood zone, obviously.
Well, it's weird because we've got properties around Matthews Branch that's actually, and there's a property around my insurance agency that's like really close, like.
Yeah.
but Some of that is,
Yeah, so I
I don't know
see
what
it
the
being any
elevation
kind
was,
of a
but maybe
problem.
that factored into it.
Hey, the northern property, the one with the tail, doesn't it have you have a sliced out piece of, that's actually in a flood zone?
Nothing we had over, we got ours from Allen, Flint.
Yeah, the
That's what I thought.
northwest
There was
corner of the
somebody
top
still
property
out,
has
not-
500
Northeast
square feet
corner,
of
yeah,
water.
northeast corner of the house that has 7,500 square feet land mass.
Mhm.
That's, it's got the tail that goes, the L-shaped piece of property.
Mhm.
That very end of the L, which is the reason you don't have the same footage on the bottom is because it runs, there's actually a carved out piece that's actually.
Okay, Allen may have done that, Allen and I were part, he may have done that so we wouldn't have to have flood insurance.
Exactly, and that's exactly why,
Yeah.
that's why you
Yeah.
don't have
Yeah.
you don't have the same square footage on top and bottom. So it is like, it literally abuts against a flood zone.
Yeah, we
And
knew
so-
the flood.
And so,
Floodway.
and I guess it's really the question that my brother Strickland here probably back. Every time you put a footer down or a concrete pad, that causes stormwater
Sure,
runoff.
yeah.
And this is not, this area is not, it was already exempt from subdivision regulations, so we're not calculating any of that.
Right.
So now we're putting 2 more houses, 2 more in places that Brother Flint had basically convinced us that, hey, 11 is the right number of pads, or right number of houses in this area.
Yeah.
For now to come back and say, well, let's put 2 more in.
Yeah,
I tend to go back to Alan
That's-
Flint and say, hey, you convinced us 11 was the right number there. And now we're trying to shoehorn 2 more for
Yeah.
economic sense.
yeah.
And
Well, and
potentially water impacts.
yeah, certainly, but I think, for me, the need for housing is greater than like the water problem. If there is one, which he said he's been there 4 inches of rain and hadn't had a problem. So, it's, ultimately it's up to y'all to decide whether we get to do them or not, so.
We're trying to cause a storm here, but.
No, it's like that's.
And I usually don't get a vote on this, but obviously I don't try to hide behind my feelings on any of this stuff either. So I mean, I would support what considerations, Jeffrey, you guys had in this thing. I guess keeping in character of the neighborhood, new project.
That's
I mean, I
kind
think
of
the
what,
other houses have been a credit to the,
that's what we looked at, is the houses that were initially put in there has really done a positive service for that area. We think it's a beautification, it's provided a need for the city. This is going on his private drive and that piece of property, and the way that he has the plans that he presented to us with the two houses on that made sense. Abutting to a flood zone, it's not in the flood zone. The area that it's in is was not a consideration from
and I
additional.
will say this, I know there's other cities that don't have the 10,000 square foot requirement. And it might be something, I think I guess as boards, we've always liked to take a peek at every one of them just in case. But, you know, these numbers don't really grab me, so.
Jeffrey, you're okay with it?
Is there any intent to make that private drive will stay private all the time? There won't be a request.
I'm
from the
glad
city?
you mentioned that.
Yeah, there's no
Later down
way,
the road, we'll go,
yeah.
Hey, let's city take over this.
Well,
private
you know,
drive."
obviously, I'd love for you to take it over, but no, they won't,
Not till
I mean,
you dump all the rock on top of it.
we did it out of concrete, so,
And your water meters are out by the road.
yeah, we did it where, yeah, we ran out
Sewer
everything
taps out by the road.
road,
too, so-
yeah.
So that was one of the things we were asking, they're like, wait
Yeah.
a second.
Yeah.
So this is something like 7 years from now, and then
Yeah.
you'll vote on it, and then you'll find out.
So we talked ahead of time about this, and I told you I wasn't going to be a problem for you. I would make the motion. But I do want to say something about this, because time will prove me right on this. 11 houses shouldn't have been there. 6 houses should have been there. That's the kind of growth that the city needs. Slow, sustained growth. Not more renters, but more people who are establishing roots in a house that they want to keep for more than one generation.
Sure.
We're being overwhelmed by dense development. It's going to be the downfall of our school system and our city if we don't slow that down. In this particular area, we're building where our engineer said we had water drain off and it wasn't a good idea to build. Now,
I feel like you're upset at me.
I can do that.
I mean, it's like, I was like,
Yeah, what did you
I was
do?
like,
Now-
hey, look, you can say yes or no, we can
No, no,
vote.
no.
This is very
I'm-
passionate guy.
Passionate.
I'm not mad at all. I'm not mad at all, but this issue does upset me. Those houses that have been built there, they look pretty, but they have also been elevated so that they won't flood. You built them up, which is a good thing.
Well, follow
However,
the
that
code,
water-
follow the code.
That water that was coming out of 2 neighborhoods right through there as an exit aren't anymore. And those were already areas that were in a flood zone. So that flood zone, even though it's at one of our highest ratings in AE flood zone, those people are getting more water already. It is happening now, and we're going to get a good rain, and houses that don't normally flood are going to flood. Our flood zones are changing and evolving because we are allowing dense residential development in this city. My motion stands.
Wait a second.
Well, I
Okay,
made
now
a
we're ready.
motion.
Okay, who made the original motion?
Yeah.
You stand by your
I
motion?
second.
Craig and Steve.
Okay, so that's the motion that you
Second.
on.
Aye.
That's the motion on the floor. You seconded it. Okay, that's the motion that we're voting on. Is anything else to add?
No.
Timeline for you, what's your timeline?
Oh, if we get started, yeah, immediately.
Okay, we got a motion, got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed?
Sorry for ruffling your feathers.
No, not at all.
Are you
I've got a wife.
opposed, Gerald?
Gerald.
Hey, Joe, were you opposing that one?
No, it's not. I tried to make the motion, actually.
You voted against that?
No.
No,
No,
it's
okay, never
not,
mind.
it's not.
You're good.
Remember
that one.
That'd be such a government thing to do, is just take it back, like, you know? Anyway, we would not do that, folks. All right, number 13, request to issue bond refund on Thomas Knight to Q Bonding in the amount of $3,500 per Judge Reed. That's a good one.
Second.
All in favor? Request to hire BWH Construction to do repairs to flooring at City Hall. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Please, let's get it done.
Melissa? Say,
It's a Band-Aid.
tell us what's
She
going on.
wants a new city hall, so.
Well, it's not, it's just gonna pretty much replaced the kitchen floor, and he's gonna
Okay, yeah,
go through
okay,
and
I already,
spot.
regret this.
spot
Here's what we're
repair.
doing.
Spot repair.
We've got a few things underneath this building that we are getting under repairing. I think at one point we had, was it red mold, white mold?
Brown mold, but it's
Brown
not
mold.
underneath the building, it's rotting
And
from
it
the
eats
top.
wood and stuff like that. So we sprayed for that. And, matter of fact, I think our former police chief did that. So, he sprayed it. So now we're actually gonna get somebody in under there along with our current chief.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah, you gotta do it. Did you say you did it? That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's gonna shore up some of the areas that we need to under our building. And, this building next year will be, what, 50 years old? And I think it took a little beating during Hurricane Katrina, et cetera. Alrighty, so, and this will help us. This isn't doing a total redo or anything like that. What was the number, 12 grand?
12,000 more or less.
And we had one to do a total rehab, it was like $86,000
That was just the boardroom.
for
and
the
kitchen.
boardroom and the kitchen. So obviously 12 sounds better than
This floor is not level in
that
here.
other number.
They gonna fix that spot where you stand, Miss Ada.
We may, Chief, get her phone number. Maybe she can help you out with everything. But anyway, got a motion, got a second, all in favor? Number 15, request to pay estimate, number 2, in the amount of $115,847.75 to Valley Construction for the soccer fields at Robert E. Russell Sports Complex per SDW.
Motion.
There's a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
They should have within, I think, 2 weeks, should have the irrigation system in. And if we could get everybody to jump on stuff as quick as these folks have.
They're putting the irrigation in now.
Okay.
They actually started yesterday.
Yeah, they are rocking and rolling. Awesome. Number 16, request to approve the docket of claims for the month of May 2023.
Motion, let's pay the bills.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Number 17, request to adjust services bill to 114 Center Circle as follows due to a leak, $360, $53.89. I know, I always argue with people about that. Y'all see the spelling of that? What do y'all say it is?
Center.
Century.
I say it's center, like
That's how I say
at Wimbledon.
Mhm.
But a lot of the.
Miss Thomas says it is century.
Oh, it's Century. I guess we gotta go with her. She lived there.
Yeah.
Okay, got a motion, got a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Steve?
Did you get them signed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Number 18, request to pay estimate in the amount of $180,899.79 to Warren Paving for the overlay project per Shal Zimmerman Waits. Motion and a second, all in favor? Now, as you
we
can
just heard
see,
you said that.
anybody, I said that anybody from the paving industry, it's the Super Bowl for them right now. I was informed not only that, it's really the Super Bowl for anybody with a backhoe these days. So as you're seeing, it's unusual that they come in and do a little bit of work and then they leave. But I mean, that's the process that's doing. So we're actually, it's one of our biggest projects that we've done, I know, since I've been around. So the next spot that they're gonna say, and I want to say this loud so anybody listening on YouTube can hear, hopefully next week they'll get back in town and they will hit Old Richmond Road and Woodland Square where we made road repairs. They're gonna hit that as part of this project as well and then continue on. And I think the date runs out back into July. I think. I haven't looked it up. I had heard that.
Plus rain days.
Yeah, and then rain days and then everything. So we think that they'll just, but they will be good. But anyway,
July next year then.
good job on that. And like I said, over the next several years, we should be able to make great strides in our road quality here in town. Never ending, but anyway. Number 19, seminars and travel. Number 19, request to approve the following travel for Bobby Ochner in the fire department. MSTAD on June 7th, 2023, State Fire Academy, total cost $20.
Wow.
Dang, Chief, why even bother, huh? Hazmat, AO online, June 5th, 2025, total cost of $160. Basic, $1,001-111 on August 21st. And October 12th, 2023, cost of $920. There we
That's
go.
normal for him.
Is
Motion.
there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, request to authorize Aaron Jernigan to attend MLEOA, I'm sure that's pronounced some way, motorcycle conference in D'Iberville on June 4th, the 4th through the 9th this week. The total cost $230.
Motion.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 21, request for Shalane Davison to attend 40-hour dispatch certification in Mendenhall the 5th through the 9th. Total cost $395. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Orders and ordinances, request to begin review period for ordinance 1974 15-A1, amending Article 3, Section 14.46 14.50 fireworks of the Code of Ordinances.
Motion.
If I wouldn't have said fireworks, I would have like, what is he? Is there a second?
Second.
You want to go ahead and
Please. So what we're looking at is allowing for fireworks to be fired within the city on 2 days, that being July 4th and I guess 3 days technically, New Year's celebration. So all of the 31st of December and an hour of December or January 1st. We haven't been allowing for fireworks inside the city. We've talked it over with our city officials, our chief and fire, discussed it with these guys. We are putting this out for review so that our residents can get back to us with concerns and things like that. But our goal is to allow for times for fireworks to be shot, while also implementing and kind of hammering down on fireworks that are shot outside of these 2 days. Point in fact, I started hearing fireworks this past week. So we're gonna try and police that, and apply fines to that and say, look, we're going to provide days of celebration for our residents. That said, days that are not of celebration, we're not going to allow fireworks to be shot on those days. What we're also doing is we're allowing for companies to come in and sell fireworks inside the city, but on very particular lots. It'll be along Evelyn Gandy, Highway 42 corridor, and on commercial. And we've also discussed on doing it with industrial. We'll have to talk it over, but that was something that was proposed recently, so I wanted to discuss it with everybody and at least allow our citizens to know. We have done this through conditional use so that we can be cautious about the impact that it'll have to the city. We don't want to get too much business. We just want to make sure that whatever happens in the future is what Petal wants. So we want to give this a shot, but we also want to have community buy-in. So we'd very much love opinions for anybody watching, for anybody that we talk to. Feel free to talk to your alderman. It's very much up in the air, but it's something that some of us want. There are plenty of people who want fireworks. There are plenty of people who don't want fireworks. And right now, honestly, we're trying to walk the line of allowing fireworks for these 2 days, not allowing them, and being pretty hard on not allowing them the rest of the year. So please get in touch with your alderman. They'll have time to look over this ordinance. Actually, I updated a couple of things and try to get on there, but I didn't realize that the agenda was going to be pushed out on Thursday. So no troubles there. I'll email y'all, because I meant to print off a copy and completely forgot it. But the changes was just really enforcing that conditional use, took away the parking lot because we don't require a parking lot for the fair. And there's only really one spot on Evelyn Gandy that would allow for that. And I just didn't see that as super necessary, especially since the fireworks aren't allowed to sell at a previously established building or business or anything along those lines. There's something else. I'll get it to y'all. It wasn't a massive change, but wanted y'all to be aware of it. And like I said, I will pass this on, blind carbon copy to everybody. So, as stated, get in touch with your alderman. Let us know what y'all think. Thank y'all.
Just out of curiosity, what do y'all think?
Are you sure that was fireworks that were firing?
For those
You
who
don't-
live in it was
I live near the county, so I'm not, that's not fireworks out by where.
yeah, I was dead center of and it was late at night. But it wasn't a
I
streak or
didn't
anything
have
like
to say
that.
it again.
I was pretty sure it's fireworks.
How many people in here were aware, not you, chief, that fireworks were illegal inside the city limits?
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody?
How many shots fired?
How many y'all break?
I was saying, how many of y'all have shotguns?
Chief, you got those guns?
Everybody raise your hand.
There'll be an officer right outside to see each one of you that raise your hand. Anyway, we got a motion, got a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All righty, number 23. I was thinking mayor's report, I'd like to do some, give them some information, an executive session on a couple, legal matters. But, anyway, number 23, request to consider the application for tax abatement for, the parcel that is listed there per the planning commission's recommendation.
Motion.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Legal, we need to have an executive session. Is there a motion to see the need for an executive session?
We done yet.
Oh, okay, go ahead, Ms. Ada.
Before y'all dismiss, did you say it was legal or not legal?
It is not legal.
Currently, it is not legal.
Well, people don't pay it no attention because.
That's,
I got plenty of them shooting them over there around my house, because I had to tell them I was gonna call the police. And they're also shooting guns.
No, I don't think this ordinance covers.
yeah, we don't change
But
that.
they doing that too. They doing that too, over there around my house, because I have to get on. Every time, every 4th of July, I have to get on a station, firecrackers, and guns. And I know that for a fact.
Jeff, you had one thing, Jeff?
I did not sign up for comment, but I did think about one thing if I might. Is with the soccer fields that are being built, is there any thought process or potential to entertain putting restrooms and concession stands in that area? Or are we going to try to utilize the existing ones in the ball field because there isn't?
I think I'm gonna go temporary in the short run.
Short run, temporary, and long run, I would like to have a concession hand, but that would be with further development later.
We got a couple considerations with some of the Matthews Branch project coming into that area as well.
Yep.
So I would say we'll know a lot more in a year from now than we do now. But appreciate the work you guys do. Ms. Jo Davis is also part of our planning commission, so we always appreciate the work you guys and the diligence y'all take for very little money. So appreciate that on behalf of our city. Anything else, Ms. Ada?
Oh, I'm finished, that's all.
So let me write
Y'all
this
doing
down.
a good job.
Chief, did you make a note? They're shooting guns down by Ms. Ada's house? Okay.
Yes, sir, I'll take that.
Just on holidays.
All right, is there a motion to consider the need for an executive session?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Well, you guys read out that early?
Chief, can I put $20 on that stuff?